Hello, and this is the third session for biology for grade 10. And yeah, in this session for biology 10, we have the following parts. The first part will be a discussion about the control of body processes. We cut the discussion about this, the impulse, from the previous session, the second session, because in my opinion, it was quite the video was quite long already. So we're continuing this discussion with this session. And then the second part is activity number two, which is how fast is your reaction. So for this activity, we are going to be measuring the reaction speed. Okay, we're gonna be measuring your reaction speed with a very simple and a very quick activity. And then the last part will be a discussion about the key concepts in the module so far. We will be focusing on the how the human nervous system works. Now, for this session, we are putting at the center the following learning competency, which is explain the role of hormones involved in the female and male reproductive systems. It's S10 LT III B34, or it's actually Science 10 Living Things third quarter B34. Alright, but let's begin. All right. So for the discussion of the control of bodily processes, the nerve impulse, we're gonna continue it. We're gonna be using, I think, it's the same, no? Same tawag dun, graphics coming from the previous video lesson. It shows the synapse and how the message gets transmitted from one neuron to another neuron. The nervous system is assisted by the five sense organs. So the eyes for the vision, for the ears naman, our auditory sense, the nose for our olfaction, the tongue for our gustation and sense of taste, and then the skin for our tactile or our sense of touch. These sense organs are constantly receiving information from the environment and sending these messages to the brain. These senses aid in the survival of human beings. We are utilizing these senses to ensure that our race is going to continue proliferating. In this case, the signal is actually received through a stimulus. A stimulus, plural stimuli, is any kind of factor in the environment that may trigger a nerve impulse. The stimulus is always almost accompanied by a certain response, which is a reaction to a particular stimulus. A stimulus is received by the body, usually through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, and the body is going to make a response. An organism must be able to respond to a stimulus for it to survive. Let's try to imagine lang if a certain animal cannot respond to a particular danger, kaya threat or of danger around that particular animal, then we can say that that animal is incapable of surviving, especially in the wild. Even plants are actually responding to certain stimulus around them. Am I right? Halimbawa, there is a particular angle by which the say for instance the light is passing through or getting through, then we can say that the plants are supposed to respond to that. And when plants are spreading their branches for them to receive light from that particular direction or that particular location, we can say that tawag dun, their response to to their surroundings is okay. And we're talking about plants, okay, that only respond through tropism, unlike the way animals usually respond. Messages do not travel in both directions along the same neuron. Only the axon of the neuron releases neurotransmitters that cross the space between neurons. So these are the neurotransmitters being shown here in the illustration. Again, these yellow things over here are actually neurotransmitters, and the other neuron has receptors for that. So these receptors have the ability to understand what those neurotransmitters mean and why they were released in the first place. Now, reaction time is the length of time between the application of a stimulus and detection of a response. For instance, if you accidentally, unintentionally touched something super hot, and if halimbawa, it took you so, parang, there was this parang delay in your response, like inabot na yung parang medyo na pinaltos na ganun yung kamay mo before mo pa talaga siya napansin na mainit, then we can say that there is a problem with your reaction time. Because normally, when people touch something really hot, they're supposed to really act so fast so that they can save their hands or their skins from the danger of being burned. And that reaction time is exactly what we are going to be testing in the next activity. All right. This activity is activity number two. How fast is your reaction? This is going to test human reaction speed. The objective of this activity is for you to measure the length of time of response to catch a dropped object. So the materials you'll need for this activity are as follows. First one is a sheet of paper. I think for this activity, you're really gonna be needing one whole sheet of paper. The second one naman, it's your pencil. Or in my classes, we usually use black or blue ball pens. And then a metric ruler, and then the last one, data chart. For the first step in this activity, if you already have all of the materials that you need, is for you to construct a table like the one given below. This is where you will be recording your data. Over here in this column, you will be putting the trials, and sa mga columns naman na to, you will be writing the centimeters where the ruler fell. Since naka-indicate naman na cm dito, you don't have to write the the acronym or the unit cm all the time. So halimbawa, you recorded here around I don't know 60 or 61. You can just put 60 or 61 instead of 60 centimeters or 61 centimeters respectively. Okay, I think it's well and it's okay if you just put the numbers here. And then obviously you're gonna be getting the average distance for eyes open left hand and eyes open right hand, eyes closed left hand and eyes closed right hand. Once you are ready, have your partner hold a metric ruler or a foot rule at its end with the highest number in centimeter. There will be siguro no instances when walang available na na meter stick. So all you have there might be a foot rule. I think you can use those naman. And maybe instead of using centimeters, you can just use, if you want to, inches. Now, for step number three, you have to place the thumb and forefinger of your left hand. So we're gonna start with the left, close to, but not touching, the end with the lowest number. Okay, so ang sabi dito, you're gonna be holding your finger, your forefinger, and your thumb close to the lowest number. So in this case, we have 0. I think the 0 mark, you can just pwede mo naman siya itapat Pero make sure that you're not touching it sa may thumb and forefinger mo. Now, step number 4, when your partner, halimbawa, this is the partner's hand over here, and this is supposed to be your hand, okay? When your partner drops the ruler, try to catch it between your thumb and finger. So, again, look at this figure so that you have a reference, a point of reference. Step number 5, record the top of where the top of your thumb is when you catch the ruler. So limbawa, in this case, you're gonna be recording yung bandang sa taas ng thumb mo, hindi yung bandang nasa ilalim. Okay? Again, i-record mo yung bandang nasa taas ng thumb, hindi yung bandang nasa ilalim. And then, once na-record mo na yun, you will know the number of centimeters or maybe inches, depending on what you did, the ruler fell. You're gonna know. And then step number 6, you just have to repeat steps number 2 to 5 more times, and record the measurements on the data table that you have constructed a while ago. Okay. Step number 7, repeat steps 2 to 5 more times using naman your right hand this time. So yung kanina, that was eyes open, left hand. Now you're gonna be doing eyes open, right hand. And then, step number 8, repeat steps number 2 to 5 more times using naman your left hand, but this time, your eyes should be closed. Your partner this time will signal you by saying now when the ruler drops. So, you don't really see it. So, for you to know kung kailan ka mag-start mag-catch, your partner should say now. Step number 9, repeat steps number 2 to 5 more times using your right hand with your eyes closed. Now what you have to do is you have to record your data and observations. Step number 10, it's now time for you to switch your tasks, and this time you're gonna be dropping the ruler and your partner is gonna try to catch it. Step number 11, to complete your data chart, change all of the centimeters to seconds by multiplying it by 0.01. So you're gonna be multiplying your data in centimeters by seconds. And I think that if you used halimbawa millimeters, you can multiply that by 0.001 since you have around 3 numbers in there. If halimbawa naman, you used inches, well, I think you can use 0.12. Okay? Multiply that by 0.12, and then you're gonna be getting seconds. Step number 12, after recording all the data, compute for the average by adding up all the measurements of all the trials and dividing it by the number of trials. So the first thing you have to do is add them up and then divide them by 5. Okay? Since in each trial, halimbawa yung left hand na eyes open, you did that 5 times. So what you have to do is add those 5 together and then divide that total by 5. So you're gonna get the average. And then repeat that for your left hand eyes open. Right hand eyes open, and then for the left hand eyes closed, and then right hand eyes closed. All right. That is the last step so far in this activity. It's now time for you to finalize your table and answer the following guide questions. For the first guide question number 3, you have to answer the following. With which hand did you catch the ruler faster when your eyes were open? Remember that you used both your hands, your left and your right hand, in doing this part of the activity. Okay, so with which hand? Is it the left or the right? Did you catch your the ruler faster? Just to indicate which hand. Question number 4. With which hand did you catch the ruler faster when your eyes were closed? So when you were closed, with which hand yung mas mabilis kang nakapag-catch? And then, question number 5. Did you catch the ruler faster with your eyes open or with your eyes closed? Question number 6. Explain why a message moving along nerve pathways takes time. Question number 7. Describe the nerve pathway that the message followed when you saw the ruler fall. So, at any point in these guide questions, if you needed more time, you can always go back and read the questions once more. Okay? Pause the video na lang nun and then move forward if in case na tapos ka ng sumagot. Now, if you are done answering all of these guide questions, let us try and see the answers, and you have the opportunity now to check your own work. You can actually use red or maybe green pens. Yeah, in checking your own work. Go ahead and make sure that you have those two pens, or maybe just one of those pens. All right. For question number 3, with which hand did you catch the ruler faster when your eyes were open? That depends on whether you are left-handed or right-handed. Usually, when a person's dominant hand is the right, they usually catch things faster with the right. And when a person, a man, is left-handed, usually they catch things faster and easier with their left hands. All right. Question number 4: with which hand, the man, did you catch the ruler faster when your eyes were closed? For this question, medyo similar siya sa question number 3, and the answer is actually quite similar to it as well. That if your eyes were closed, you're actually gonna the speed of you catching your ruler up is actually gonna depend on whether you are left-handed or you are right-handed, and it's really a matter of um which hand are you dominantly using. Okay. Question number 5. Did you catch the ruler faster with your eyes opened or with your eyes closed? The answer is the ruler was caught faster, of course, with eyes open. Question number 6. Explain why a message moving along nerve pathways takes time. The message travels from one neuron to another until it reaches the brain. Then, the brain's response is also transmitted by another set of neurons. And these terminals, these stations of the message, these are actually what contributes to the length of the time needed for a particular message to take time. Okay, that leads it to that. Question number 7. Describe the nerve pathway that the message followed when you saw the ruler fall. Now, first, the eyes see the ruler and then sends a message to the brain. The brain sends a response through the muscles in the hand. Finally, the muscles are gonna be contracting to allow the person to catch the ruler. All right. If ever your answers are only close, we can if ever if ever you're gonna consider your answers provided, that we have these suggested correct answers, you can always, use these as, references. Okay, para alam mo kung you're on the right track or maybe you're not. Okay? Now, indicate your score in the upper right-hand corner of your answer sheet, and also make sure that you put you write your score clearly, okay? And make sure that tama yung score mo. All right. Now, the last part of this session is for us to discuss some key concepts. These key concepts are gonna revolve around how the human nervous system works. The neurons have the special ability to carry signals or impulses. In this key concept, the first term is a nerve impulse. A nerve impulse is an electrochemical signal, so it means it employs the charges, the positive and the negative and the neutral charges, as well as chemicals, okay, in chemical concepts in moving along a neuron. The space between neurons is what you would call as a synapse. In that synapse, dun nare-release yung mga neurotransmitters from one neuron to another. A stimulus is any factor that triggers a particular behavior or that influence a particular behavior. And these factors are coming from usually the environment. There are times when people are responding to a particular stimuli, and that was because they might be having some problems mentally. All right? A response naman is a reaction to a condition or stimulus. An organism must be able to respond to a stimulus to survive because halimbawa, no, in the case of praise, if they're not gonna be very active when it comes to receiving or looking for stimulus or threats to their lives, they are not gonna survive. Reaction time is the amount of time between application of a stimulus and the detection or actually the carrying out of a response. So, halimbawa, if you were touching a rose stem and then alam mo yun, like nahawakan mo yung tinik niya, and if halimbawa you responded quickly that hindi man gaanong masakit or hindi man gaanong malalim yung naging tusok, that means that if your reaction time like that is very short, okay, napaka-short nung interval, then you have a very good reaction time. However, if halimbawa di mo man napansin, no, that means you might need to kind of like check with yourself, okay, because I don't know, maybe something should be done about your reaction time. After all, these reaction times are not just about flowers with thorns or pots that are extremely hot. The reaction time is also important in our daily lives. Like for instance, there is an approaching, say for instance, vehicle or even siguro a small one like a tricycle, no? Di mo siya napansin, tas napansin mo the reaction time now, since you have the stimulus, you have to make sure that you know how to act. You have to be agile. So, what are you gonna do? Okay? So you have to think fast. Also in performance arts, no? Halimbawa, an actor forgot some of the lines, and those lines are, quite important. Kumbaga, the actor does not know exactly what the words are anymore, pero may idea siya on how to deliver the part pa rin kasi medyo alam naman niya yung essence, di lang talaga niya memoryado, for instance, yung mga lines, okay, like verbatim. So, kung halimbawa, mabilis siyang, quick on his feet, pwede naman yun, okay? Pwede siyang, maging indicator din of whether the actor is having a good reaction time or not. Alright. Well, we've been talking about the brain. However, I hope that we both agree, no, that we both know that the brain works actually around the clock, and it works for as long as we live. Well, aside dun sa mga ginagawa ng brain natin about, controlling our thoughts, regulating our emotions, initiating movements, Aside from those, it is also taking care of other, less uh, less conscious things. Diba? Breathing, your heartbeat, and even the stress that you feel. Okay, the brain is taking care of all of those. It's 24/7. Now, the question is, how does the nervous system, including the brain, work? Okay, so this system is acting like a network that relays messages papunta, pabalik from the brain and to various parts of the body depending on ano yung role ng mga parts ng body na yon. Now, for instance, you touched something really hot, no, such as in this one. We can get some signal through the spinal cord. Okay, so the stimulus right here could be sent to the spinal cord, which extends from the brain down through the back and consists of fine nerves that branch out to every organ and every body part, the way you see it here in this illustration. Now, when a message reaches the brain from any part of the body, yung utak naman nun, it's gonna be commanding the body to, make a response. Halimbawa, in this case, the response now was commanded and mangyayari, ilalayo na niya yung kanyang kamay from the source of the pain or the fire in this case. Now, you can think of your nervous system as a relay team. I don't know if you are familiar with the with relays, no? Pero yung mga track events na may mga baton silang mga alam mo, may mga baton silang hawak. Familiar ka ba doon? Or yung mga parang maliliit na sticks, para siyang kandila actually. Pero it's not a kandila, no? Tapos, like, tatakbo sila, tapos ipapasa yung baton doon sa next person. Ganun. Tapos, tatakbo yung next person. Tapos, ihahatid yun sa next person. Ayan. So, parang ganun. Parang ganun yung pinaka function ng nervous system. It acts like a relay team. Okay, so one of the runners will be passing the object to another runner, and then yung nerve cells, and in this case, the nerve cells handling its information are actually passing it to the next neuron. So it's kind of like a very quick mechanism. It's also a very very effective one. Kaso yun nga lang, may mga instances na yung tao medyo hindi siya nakakapag-respond ng mabilis, and that is an issue in the person's reaction time. Okay, now when once the information reaches into its destination, and a reaction is gonna be made. For instance, to okay, and then I think na ano na to na-explain na. Pero halimbawa yan, once the brain in response to the signal, it commands the muscles and sa may bandang kamay mo to pull away. Now, ito ay actually split second lang, no? Mabilis na mabilis lang ito. Actually, mas mabilis pa yung reaction mo dito sa case na to, sa scenario na to, compared dun sa time na ginugol mo, no? Na basahin ang buong paragraph na to. That's how fast it is. Now, these are neurons, and neurons are especially intended for information processing as well as information signaling. Now, these neurons, they relay and receive messages called impulses between the brain and the body. Now, within the brain and the spinal cord. So, these neurons actually comprise our entire nervous system, right? They just have different shapes, and they just have different locations, pero they are basically if you're gonna ask me, parang medyo one and the same. Motor neurons are neurons that transmit impulses from the brain to the muscles, glands, and other neurons in the peripheral nervous system. Ang mga motor neurons, they are known for their connection with movement. Kaya siya tinawag na motor kasi yun nga, Meron silang connection, malaking connection sa movements natin. Now, when it comes naman to thoughts and stimuli, it's the work of the sensory neurons. And these transmit impulses from sensory nerves or receptor cells papunta naman sa central nervous system. Hindi sila papunta lang sa peripheral nervous system. They are actually going to the central nervous system. And yun, we are done with this session. And in this session, what we were capable of finishing, of accomplishing, are the following parts. First part is a discussion about the control of body processes, the nerve impulse continued. And then the next part naman was activity 2, how fast is your reaction? And in this activity, we tested human reaction speed, particularly yung reaction speed mo at saka nung kaklase mo. And then, discussion naman about key concepts was the last thing that we did in this session. In this part, we talked about how the human nervous system works. This has been Sir CJ, and I hope that I will see you in the next video lesson. Have a good day.